And I said I'd do a follow-up on my latest video. I saw a couple of corrections I need to make. One of them is back in the day, and I'm going to say back in the day of Tamora giving birth to those twins, they were both boys. Okay, that's important to understand. Not only were they both boys, but when Zora stuck his hand out, I got to do this the proper way, I guess. Quit messing around, because Zipporah didn't have a watch. Anyhow, what they would do for the firstborn and twins, because that's where the covenant lineage goes through, which actually proves a whole lot in this event. It does. They would tie a crimson thread around the hand of the first one to be born, signifying that's where the birthright goes. Okay, and that was, I always say Zora. Okay, it might be right. It's close. So that's what the handmaiden did. Okay, she put a string around her. I called her a handmaiden. I think that's correct. Anyhow, she was the nurse on the site, right? And the nurse on the job. So I kind of felt that was an important correction. Another important correction, which actually that's not a correction, that's an addition, is the divine right of kings. See, David, King David, who promised he'd have a descendant always on his throne, was given divine right of kings. Think about that. That's really interesting, because recently, who's been trying to be a king? Didn't they have a big march, a no king march? Yeah. I think they knew what was going on. Trump wants to be king, the Davidic servant of King David. That's what Trump wants to be. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, if the Davidic servant will sit on the Davidic throne and have the divine right of kings to rule, that kind of throws a monkey wrench into things. Why don't we have a king over here in the United States? Well, for those that believe the Book of Mormon, God said, I will not suffer a king to be on this land. And in Doctrine and Covenants was in 98 and 101, he gives the Constitution. And what does he say? What does he say about the Constitution? It is the law of the land. And he cleanses land by the shedding of blood. Now there's a question. Whose blood? Well, you got to say the 3%ers. You got to call them and all those that rallied with them, okay, during the War of Independence. I think that's fair. I really do. I think that's fair, you know, that they shed their blood as martyrs for freedom and for truth and for God and for the Constitution of the United States, which was to come shortly. But there's another one. There's another one that I've thought of quite a bit. Because who gave that commandment? It was Jehovah. And he shed his blood on the cross to fulfill the Old Testament. Think about it. He shed his blood on the cross to fulfill the Old Testament, and everything in it is in there. Pretty interesting. So I throw my Lord and Savior in that mix, that he had to do that, shed his blood to cleanse this continent from all unrighteousness and prepare it for the Constitution of the United States and the descendants of Ephraim. That's it. Over and out. There might be more corrections coming. I don't know. You know, I make mistakes.